Alright, I wanted to do a video about one of my favorite handguns, and it just also happens to be, in my opinion, one of the most underrated handguns that I think was probably ever made. I want to even say it's probably the best bang for your buck right now, so anybody who's looking for a really quality piece on a budget, then this video is for you. Which one is it? It's one of the ones that are on the table here. Can you guess? I put together this little 6-gun salute here. These are 6 of my favorite guns of all time. I got a few other ones that I'd probably put up there, but just wanted to throw these up here for the video. These are representing just some of my favorites. We got a Ruger Super Red Hawk Alaskan. Really versatile gun. I love it. Very easy to carry, despite what you might think. A lot of people have the idea that this is just a gigantic beast of a gun, and it is in some ways, but it's nice. It's easy to carry. Right now sporting the Crimson Trace laser grips, and I just put these wooden grips on recently. Now I also have a compact grip for this that just barely covers the grip frame, and it makes it a really sweet carry piece. Easy to conceal. It's very versatile because you could run 45 Colt and 454 at the same time and basically take care of all your needs. Beretta 92A1 doesn't really need much introduction. Here's a SIG 226. I got this one up here because I built this SIG from the ground up. Started with a bare frame, ordered every part individually, tweaked a lot of the parts, and messed around with different spring weights and stuff to really get down to what I really wanted to. I had a special purpose why I built this gun. It's almost there. I got a couple more things I'll do to it, and maybe I'll do a video. Let me know if you want to see a video on that, and I'll just get into the insides and all. This is a 226 TAC Ops model. You probably guessed that I'm a little partial to SIGs, but this is mostly factory. I changed the grips. I like the ergo grips on this a little bit better. It came with the magwell grips, but I like these a little bit better for this gun. I got the magwells on another gun, and I think I changed the hammer spring in that too. P220 Compact, been carrying this one lately. Awesome carry gun, little 45 ACP. And I did a little trigger work to this. Actually, I spent a lot of time on the trigger on this one. This one's got just an amazing trigger. I had a guy pull the trigger the other day, and he couldn't believe it. And especially anybody who knows about SIGs, when you pull the trigger on this, it's just like glass. It's got a beautiful, perfect breakover. Really nice weight to it. But anyway, I could highlight that in another video also. This is Sig Sauer P250. Now this one I just put together a couple weeks ago in this configuration. It's got the full-size slide, but it's got the compact frame, or what they call a grip module. And I really like this. It balances really well with this size. I like longer slides sometimes, but the grip module I like to be a little bit tighter. So and this is in 357 SIG, by the way, which is one of my favorite handgun rounds. So sometimes I just want to carry a 357 SIG, and this is just a perfect configuration for it. It's actually very easy to carry, and I like the way it has the extra length, because with that 357 SIG and the length of that barrel, it turns out to be a pretty awesome little deal. So you guys may have guessed it already, but I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. My favorite gun out of all these, Sig Sauer P250. And you guys are probably falling out of your chair right now. What are you talking about, Glory to America? Out of all those guns, how could you possibly like that ugly P250? I gotta tell you, when I was going to make this video, first thing I was going to say is that it's a very polarizing gun. And then I thought about it, and it's not even really a love it or hate it kind of thing. It's worse than that. With this SIG P250, I think it's a love to hate it kind of gun. It's unbelievable, but I don't really see a whole lot of people talking about this gun. Not in the gun magazines. You very rarely ever see it in there. YouTube doesn't get a whole lot of play. You don't see this gun in the movies. And when you're around circles of gun guys, one thing you're never going to hear is, "Hey man, did you see that new P250?" Or you're never going to see somebody pull out their P250 and say, "Wayne, let me show you this really awesome gun I have." It just doesn't really get a whole lot of love. Even in the gun stores, I got 4 of these SIG P250s, and all 4 of them I had to order online because I could never find one in a gun store. It's so bad that when you go to the gun store, and you could do this for fun next time you go to a gun store, just ask the guy if they have any P250s. Wait do you see the look you get. Whoever's behind the counter, they're gonna automatically assume that you're a newbie or you have no idea about guns just for the fact that you're asking about a SIG P250. You'll usually get a sneer, and then they'll tell you why you don't want one and how it's a crap gun, even though they probably never held one and never shot one. You know, but they'll tell you why it's a crap gun. Then of course they'll very politely show you the guns that they do have for sale that are better suited for you. Anyway, I digress. But let me get these off the table here, and let's focus on this P250. Man, are you serious, Glory to America? Some of you guys are probably still wondering if I'm serious or not. Is this video a joke or what? You know, what's to love about a SIG P250? Honestly, what's not to love about a P250? This is just an awesome gun. One of the first things I go by is how a gun feels in my hand. I mean, I've had some really great guns over the years that I winded up selling or trading just because, you know, as much as I love the gun and as much as I've respected how it was built and everything, it just didn't feel right in my hand. So I had to get rid of it. And I think that has a lot to do with shooting, because if a gun feels comfortable in your hand, and this is my opinion, I feel like it should be an extension of yourself. Alright, so if a gun feels awkward in your hand, it's hard to get that out of your head. No matter how long you shoot it, it's always going to feel awkward in your hand. Now on the flip side, if a gun feels comfortable in your hand and it points naturally for you, it's going to be that much easier for you to focus on your target. You're going to be more accurate. You're going to become more fluent with how the gun operates, because, you know, everything else is going to be second nature. Whoever engineered this grip module, I think they really took into consideration the mechanics of your hand and just, you know, ergonomics of our body in general. If not, they just got lucky, because it just feels really awesome. So another thing about it is the trigger. This thing's just got a phenomenal trigger. Just to safety check it there. But the trigger on this is just like butter. It's a double action only trigger, so you guys who gotta have a single action gun, if you gotta have a single action gun, you're obviously probably not going to be into this. It's not for everybody. But the trigger on this is just as smooth as butter, silky sweet trigger. One of the best double action only triggers I've ever felt in my life, and that's real, because I've had some nice revolvers with some really sweet double action pulls on them, and I gotta tell you, this P250 I would put against any of those. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And it's not just me saying that, but anybody who's never pulled the trigger on a P250 before, I've tried this before with other guys who are, you know, quote unquote gun guys, and anybody that I've handed this off to, if they've never felt the P250 before and I tell them to pull that trigger, it's the same expression every time. They're shocked. They can't believe how smooth that trigger is. They're totally expecting it to be something else. And it's extra awesome because when you see the way the P250 is built on the inside, it's pretty amazing that they can get it that smooth with how they built it, which I'll get to that in a second. But I want to say the slide. Another thing, you know, from the slide up, it's classic Sig Sauer. So, you know, it's a cheaper gun. I don't even know what they're going for now, but when I was buying them, all of my P250s were like right around that $300 to $400 mark. I don't think I ever paid more than $400 for a P250, and I'm almost positive that I bought them for $300, but nevertheless, it's been a few years and I forget. But breaking this down, I mean, you're not looking at a budget gun slide. I mean, the machining on this slide is beautiful, and as far as how it's made, it's pretty much, it's not the same as a P22 series, like a P226 or a 220, but it is very similar. I mean, there's no doubt it's a SIG through and through. And all the parts appear to be quality made. I've never, out of all four of them, I've never had one break or fail to eject or anything like that. Everything seems to be pretty robust. This guide rod, these are the same springs that they put in the 22 series guns. The guide rod I can't remember. This is a stainless steel guide rod. I don't know if I put that in there or if it came with this model. To be honest, I really don't remember. I might have put this in there, but I don't remember if it came with it or not. I probably put that in there. But anyway, barrel, classic Sig Sauer barrel, 357 barrel, so it's pretty thick. I like that. The magazines are, if I'm not mistaken, they're Mekar. It doesn't say it, but it's made in Italy and it looks like a Mekar, so I'm guessing they're Mekar mags. So that's all that. Now let's get to this internal part real quick. So another thing is that this is just a great gun to travel with. Alright, when you look at this down here, all these parts down here, none of these parts are considered a gun. Okay, so when you're traveling, of course, you need to be aware of what state you're in and what their gun laws are, especially if you have your guns with you. And sometimes it's a pain in the ass, especially if you have license for your state, or if you're licensed for a couple states. You know, it's going to be reciprocal in a few states, but then there's the ones that it's not reciprocal. And you know, especially if you're going up and down the East Coast, for example, if I'm going from Pennsylvania to Florida, some guns or some states accept my license, some of them don't. So it's a pain in the ass sometimes traveling with guns. But you really couldn't get a more perfect gun to travel with, because even all this put together is still not considered a gun. So again, this is yet another reason why I'm saying the P250 is my favorite gun. You know, you put all this together, you're not violating any laws in any state, as far as I know, as long as you're allowed to have gun parts in that state, which, if I'm not mistaken, is just about every state in the union. So you're allowed to have gun parts, and you're allowed to travel with gun parts, because it's not a firearm, it's just parts. This is technically the firearm, and you guys can use your imagination. I mean, if you're traveling, there's a million ways you could travel with this. It's just a little piece of metal, and it's very easy to break down. There's only 3 pins. You take out these 2 pins in the back, and this pin right here, actually 4 pins. So you got 4 pins to take out, and that'll completely drop out the hammer and the trigger bar and the trigger and the slide release, and there you go. Then what you're left with is just a piece of metal with the serial number on it. So again, you could get creative when you're traveling. Since I have this out, just wanted to show you one of the things that's really different about this gun. Instead of a traditional hammer spring, you know, which would be connected to a hammer spring bar, this has a spring that's coiled up inside the base of the hammer. And so this is what I mean when I say the trigger pull is just unbelievably smooth. It's really amazing how they were able to create that smooth and awesome trigger pull with the way everything's compact, and how they had to get that spring in there. So it's a really, I've never seen another design like this. So just a really cool, innovative design all the way around, robust. Last thing I want to say about this P250, and again, this is why it's my number one of my favorite guns of all time, is it's a very, very robust piece. And I think that's the one thing that almost everybody misses about this gun when they're talking about it, or you know, you having an opinion about this gun, is not that many people, I don't know how many people you've ever actually heard say that it's a robust gun, but it's a real well-built, quality, robust piece that I've got a lot of rounds through my 357, my 40, and my 9mm version of it, and I've never had a round fail. I mean, even with the plus P 9mm, it'll eat up plus P all day long. And the interesting thing to remember is, with this, you're using the same main firing mechanism here when you're switching through calibers. So I may have had a certain amount of rounds through this 357, a certain amount through the 9, a certain amount through the 40, but all of those rounds have been through this piece right here. So, you know, just something to think about. And this thing, it still looks brand new, still looks like the day I bought it. I don't see any signs of wear whatsoever. So just a really robust, strong, I mean, all the steel that they make it out of seems to be really high quality, and it just works, plain and simple. I mean, look at that. There you go. You got your entire gun broken apart, you know, cleaning. I mean, I could go on and on, guys. I mean, seriously, why the SIG P250 is the best gun ever? I could just keep going on and on. When you're talking about cleaning it, how easy is this? I mean, boom, there you go. You know, you got your complete gun. I mean, just think of your other guns that you've taken apart by comparison. I mean, you know how easy it is to clean all this out like this? And this thing here, you know, usually I'm in there with cotton swabs, and I got my little tiny brushes and my picks, and, you know, trying to get to all the places in my guns so that I don't have to take them all the way apart every time I clean it. But this thing here, I mean, come on, you hit that with a little spray cleaner and wipe it down, blow it with some compressed air, and you're done. So there you go, ease of cleaning. I mean, there's another reason why. You know, so you're getting a robust military / law enforcement durable quality piece for you know, a really good deal. Again, I can't remember, you guys can comment. I don't know what these are going for now. I know that they were dirt cheap a couple years ago, so I don't know if they're still dirt cheap or what, but I can't imagine them costing more than $400 or $500. Matter of fact, they were selling twosomes, which was basically 2 guns in one. They were selling 2 different size P250s with one main firing module for like $399 just a couple years ago. I mean, this is even when the when the climate, the political climate, was hot and it was getting hard to get ammo and hard to get guns just all across the board. Even back then, they were selling these 2-packs of P250s for only $3.99. So call me crazy, but I love the P250.